Let's take a look at some more malicious traffic, or traffic that could be malicious. And we'll look at spoofed addresses. Now, spoofed IP and MAC addresses are very common in network attacks because the attacker seeks to hide their identity. And most of the time they think that spoofing their IP address or their MAC address is going to help do that. And sometimes it will. Spoofing is actually very easy to do, and we've shown it already using a couple of tools. Colosoft Packet Builder, HPing2, any packet crafter will usually do. So there's others out there, but HPing2 and Colosoft Packet Builder are the ones we've featured so far during this course, and they're very good at doing it. Spoofed addresses can be very difficult to trace. Oftentimes, especially if it comes outside of your network, you're not going to know who is doing that. Some ways that you can try to find it is if you can associate the IP address with a possible spoof domain as well. You can use things like NSLOOKUP, Whois, and there's other tools that will trace spoofed domain names and or IP addresses. You can also talk to registrars about certain IP address spaces as to see who owns them. In packet captures, what you want to look for is unusual addresses on the network. If there's an address on your network that doesn't belong, then you need to take a look at that. If you have an IP listing, or if you want to go look at your DHCP server and see who the valid clients are on your network, and hopefully as a good network administrator you have a list that matches IP address and MAC address up and host name so that you'll know who belongs on your network and who doesn't. That will help you detect an intruder in a lot of cases. But look for addresses on your network that might be inside in your own address space that don't belong there. Also look for unusual or heavy traffic that comes from a particular host or address. Your average client shouldn't be sending out a bunch of SYN packets or some of the other unusual packets you might see during an attack. So look for heavy traffic also that comes from a network client. It could be a lot of packets, or it could be a lot of packets that span a lot of different ports and protocols. That might indicate a scan coming from a particular address, and that address may be spoofed. So that might tell you that there's some traffic going on from a spoofed address. Look for many different unusual addresses sending heavy traffic during a really close time frame. If all of a sudden you've got 10 different IP addresses sending traffic inside your network from the outside, and it's very close time intervals, that's probably coming from one address, and it's probably spoofed. It might be using something like HPing2 to randomize its source address. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at some IP spoofing traffic. Okay, we're in our Windows XP box, and what we want to look at is some spoof traffic that's going on. So if we look at our traffic capture, we're going to see a couple of different things. What we're going to see is some traffic coming from a .50 address, and we're using the same network we have been using throughout the course. So on this network there's 30.10, which is my Windows XP Professional box, and there's 30.20, which is my Linux box running Backtrack. And Backtrack, as I probably already told you, is a very popular distribution of Linux that has a lot of hacker tools and security tools on them. Those are the only two boxes on there. But look what we're seeing. We're seeing traffic that uses our IP address space, 172.16.30, but it's from a .50. So where is that traffic coming from? We don't really know. It could be another box, or it could be one of our boxes that is spoofing another address. In this case, we've got a lot of different traffic coming from it. So we're seeing an unusual address for one thing, and we're seeing a lot of weird traffic come from that address. Different SYN packets being sent out. We're seeing a SYN scan. So it's doing a SYN scan on particular ports, and that would indicate to us that since there's a lot of different traffic coming from an unusual address, that's probably a spoofed address, and this could be an attack in progress or a scan in progress. Now, as we go down, we're probably also seeing some other traffic coming across. If we keep on looking, we're also seeing some traffic coming from a normal box. We know that there's a .20 on our network, so this could be normal traffic. We're just seeing an ICMP echo request and response. We're not seeing a lot of other traffic from any other boxes at this time. What we're seeing though is some traffic that may or may not indicate that we're getting traffic from normal network hosts. And as we go on further down the capture, now we're starting to see some other IP addresses appear on our network. And again, we already know that we've got some IP addresses out there that's sending malicious traffic. We know that we only have 2 hosts on this network, but yet where are we getting 124 and 212 IP addresses coming from? And they're starting to send a lot of traffic, this time with weird flags set. The fin flag is set. So we're getting some weird traffic coming from other IP addresses. Now look at the time index, how close it is. That pretty much tells us we're being scanned on a regular basis by a computer, but it has different IP addresses. So these are probably spoofed. That would be one indication that you're seeing traffic coming from a spoofed IP address. So that's the different forms that spoofing can take, just a couple of examples, and so that you will know what to look for when you're looking for spoofed IP addresses.